Is Kyle still this team's head coach in 2026? He's going to have a last place schedule. If he can't get back to the playoffs through a last place schedule, then it's probably you got to go time. As a matter of fact, I thought that there was a sequence of plays at the end of this year that very much embodied the season for the San Francisco 49ers, very much embodied the year. The Cardinals coming out of the 2-minute warning in a game that they're going to win. It's a 16-point deficit. The Niners are not about to score 2 touchdowns with 2 2-point conversions after they get an onside bet. Like the game's fucking over. Okay, it's over. So you're coming out of the 2-minute warning. It's 4th and 1, and of course the Cardinals decide they're going to run it up the middle, and they do pick up the first down. And then Kyle Shanahan, with the only thing left to do is let this clock hit 0 and everybody can go home, he calls a total bullshit timeout. A total bullshit timeout. A timeout to make it look like you're coaching, make it look like you're still trying to milk every single second of this season for the betterment of the 49ers. Like, it was a bullshit. What are you even bothering calling this timeout for, Kyle? You know, maybe the 49ers defense is going to recalibrate and they are going to stand up and bow their necks with nothing left to play for in this year, and they'll show us. And after the total bullshit, what are you wasting our time out? What are you wasting our time for timeout? The 49ers instantly give up a 46-yard touchdown run right up the middle to a totally untouched Tony Jones Jr., and that's all you need to know. The 49ers aren't good enough when the game begins, when the game is ending. They're not good enough after the timeout that's supposed to be the recalibrating, let's get it right now timeout. And when it's a matter of playing for pride, you give up an embarrassing touchdown without contact of the runner, and that's all you need to know about this damn year. Right there. Right there. Special teams and defensive headaches, impossible to overcome all year long, and that's why you're 6-11 on the year. That's why in your final 8 games you went 1-7. And that's embarrassing. As bad as the whole year was, as much as everybody just wants to point to Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy and blame them for everything, you know, at least Kyle's side of the ball, hardly perfect, did get the job done in terms of the 49ers' offensive EPA over the course of the entire year. They finished 11th in the NFL, just outside the top 10. Their defensive EPA was the worst of the entire Kyle Shanahan era, 26th in the NFL. And again, if there were a 33rd team in football, the Niners would not have had the worst special teams in football, because there's only 32 teams and they finished 32nd in special teams EPA. Defense, worst of Shanahan's era. Special teams, worst in the NFL this season. A pretty disappointing, yet still all things not that bad offense. And that's where this season went to hell. I know that everyone loves to say Brock and Kyle are responsible for everything, and anything that goes wrong must be their fault. They're two of the only things that really went right all year long for the 49ers now that the final numbers are in. And Brock Purdy's up and down season still produced a top 10 QBR. His quarterback rating was 7th in the NFL this year. Lamar Jackson, number 1. Josh Allen, number 2. Joe Burrow, number 3. Jaden Daniels, number 4. Jordan Love, number 5. Jared Goff, number 6. Brock at 7. Patrick Mahomes at 8. Only Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes are not going to the playoffs in that group. And the reason why neither of those guys are going is the same reason, because their teams around their offenses weren't good enough. Now, as frustrating as the 49ers offense was in the red zone, they moved the ball a lot this year. They just did not get it done in the red zone, and they scored 20 fewer touchdowns with Christian McCaffrey just not even being involved in the team this year. Offensively, it was a headache from wide receivers all year long, healthy or not, headaches everywhere. And still, they produced a reasonable level of success where there was an unreasonable level of disappointment attached to the defense and to the special teams. And that's where this year absolutely went to shit. Again, it's easy to blame the two guys the camera focuses on the most. I guess it takes a little bit more of an experienced member of the media or just someone who's watched football for more than just the last couple of years to know what's going on here. It escaped an awful lot of people. It's not escaping me. Kyle and Brock will not ever circle this year as a year to talk about how good they were at anything. But they're still better than the rest of these guys who the season fell apart around more than it did Kyle and Brock. This defense stunk all year, and the special teams was the worst in football all year long, just from a special team standpoint. Had they been better on special teams, they might have been a playoff team with everything going wrong around them all year long anyways. That's how ridiculous this year really was. What would be the reason to bring Nick Sorensen back? You know, could you even explain it to me without using the word continuity? I don't think you could. I think Steve Wilks got fired for less. But we'll see whether or not Nick Sorensen is back or not. A damning stat that I saw against Nick Sorensen is that this team had one recorded sack by a linebacker or a D-back all season long. Just one by a defensive back, just one by a linebacker. Anyone who blitzed wasted his time blitzing this year. And the Niners didn't waste a lot of time blitzing. I saw Dave Lombardi say that San Francisco blitzed multiple rushers a league low 1.7% of the time. So they hardly ever blitzed. And when they did, it was poorly timed and ineffective. Nick Sorensen's base defense was a letdown all year long. A lack of communication seemed to be something that this team could not overcome all year long. Why Nick Sorensen is the right answer, I really don't understand it. I really don't. I think that Steve Wilks got fired for less than Nick Sorensen is about to be retained for. Why you need Brandon Staley ever again, I do not know. What the two of them were supposed to do collectively together, I didn't see it. Big, strong statement finished to the end of the season. Well, while they were trying to make a big, strong statement to show you with how much gusto they were going to play in a season that was lost. The Niners defense allowed over 38 points per game and 153 rushing yards per game over their last 3 games. Why any of that needs to come back, I really don't know. You know, Larry's talking point, which we were going over on Wake Up, and I agree. There are some people who've gotten way too comfortable in Santa Clara, and how Kyle can say he demands better, but not make people uncomfortable who have so let his team down through poor coaching, either on special teams or defense. Like, I don't know. There's got to be a reason to bring Nick Sorensen back that is one that no one who is, not allowed to watch every day in practice understands. A lot of people who do watch practice every day don't understand it either. If the players really like him, so what? Who gives a shit? The Raiders and their players, they really liked Antonio Pierce, so he was brought back. Where did that get them? Do you think you like someone because they make your life hard for you, or do you like someone because you kind of get away with shit? Not a fan. I'm not a fan of what I've seen out of this defense all year long. Not a fan of what we saw out of special teams, who I've been calling for a termination there since week 3, week 4. And I am not the fire everything and everyone to make your life better type of broadcaster, content creator, whatever the fuck I am these days. I'm not that type of guy. I'm telling you that I would walk away from this defensive coordinator for one who knows what he's doing and just ready to go. Vic Fangio was brought in after knowing what he's doing, and look at what the Eagles were defensively this year and are defensively this year. You can get better than painfully average. So what the case for Nick Sorensen would be, I really don't understand it. And I would say that the hot seat that everyone is looking for underneath Kyle Shanahan, it officially appears next year. This is the offseason where the results of this draft and this free agency will, whatever the answer is, was it good or bad, will also be the answer to, is Kyle still this team's head coach in 2026? He's going to have a last place schedule. If he can't get back to the playoffs through a last place schedule, then it's probably you got to go time. But I would give him one more bite at this apple. I really would. I know that there's a lot of people who just want to flush Shanahan and Purdy. Neither of that is going to happen, so I'm going to operate again in observable reality. We're not going to talk about the things we wish would happen. We're going to talk about the things that are happening. Shanahan and Purdy are both back. John Lynch is going to be back. We'll see about Sorensen. We'll see about Brian Schneider. We'll see if Greasy comes back. Apparently, the Miami Dolphins want to talk to him, or somebody wants to, somebody, or the Jets, somebody who wears green, not Michigan State. Want to talk to Brian Greasy about a promotion. There will be turnover this year. And they need to have a good draft this year. And we'll see who is around after that. It's going to be pretty interesting. Thanks for watching. Tune into the Damon Bruce Show live on YouTube every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.